glad to have you with us. Live shot of the Jumbotron in Times Square. That's where the ball drops, and it's just so cool when it's not freezing cold and there's 10,000 screaming people around you. But anyway, we're glad that you're with us. Thank you for being here, and thank you for taking us with you and telling other people about where you go to have the confusion obliterated. We're merciless on confusion. We take the confusion, we say, you're not helpful, and we pound it up into little bits with sledgehammers, and then we sweep it away, and then we say, okay, now what is the truth? And we take that and we amplify it. We grow that. We put more emphasis on that, and then we pursue clarity together. And that is that's really important, and that's really good. And I hope that it's helpful for you. It's something that I feel personally like it's something that God has called me to, that I'm kind of uniquely equipped to do. That this is getting under the hood and looking at the details and seeing where the actual the junk is and getting rid of that and saying, now what does this really mean? When I finally figured out that's what God called me to, it's like my whole life changed. Because suddenly I didn't feel victim to the circumstances around me anymore. I actually felt empowered. I felt like I had knowledge to take action on. And what I found when I came to AFA as a network, and it was 5 years ago that the Kevin McCullough Show was first added in the overnights on AFA. But since then, I've now become part of the daily lineup and so forth. What I found here is a family of fellow hosts, of listeners, of people that jump on Facebook and add comments and write me emails and so forth, that are all ready to do the same thing. We just need the truth. If we know where the truth is, then we can take the proper action. And so that's what I'm committed to doing, friends, so long as God allows me to be with you. And I'm grateful to Buddy Smith and Tim Wildman and Jim Stanley and everybody that has probably taken some degree of criticism for putting me on the air, not the least of which is from like Right Wing Watch. 888-589-8840. The news story to the AFA Today Facebook page about the Planned Parenthood thing. And if you're looking for the actual text of all of this is where you can go to break it down, afatoday.com. I want to take more of your calls, though, and someone that's been on hold quite a while, John in Indiana. John, thanks for your patience. Kevin McCullough, glad to have you with us.
Hi, Kevin.
John, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Thank you for your patience. Go right ahead.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to say how much I appreciate your program, and thank you for taking my call. I was watching CNN last night, and I saw, in a time frame of less than 15 minutes, Harry Reid administer over, I believe, 14 judges across the United States without any personage present in this hall of the Senate. The president of the Senate passed it, and without, by the way, the naming of the 18 senators that were supposedly on the nomination or the administering of those judges. The request was that they not be named. That request was granted, and that motion, all those motions were passed on the placement of those judges in less than 15 minutes. No persons available in the hall of the Senate last night.
And John, on some level, I mean, and this is hard for some people to understand, but there are, when there are such positions there, all of the appropriate senators were alerted as to who was on that list. If there were no major objections by either party, then that's not going to turn into a controversial thing, and he's going to do that. It's just one of the timekeeping things in the Senate. It's not necessarily a cause for concern as long as it was done legally and properly. Both sides do it. We did it when more conservative presidents have been in power. The other side does it as well. I'm not concerned so much about what you saw on C-SPAN. I'm far more concerned about the policies that these guys are pumping out. And what I really want to get back to is not the conspiracy about how the judges are confirmed. What I want to talk about is this idea, this concept, that Planned Parenthood can take $542 billion from us, the taxpayers, in the form of a check from the U.S. Treasury to Planned Parenthood, that they can take that money from us, use it while they are simultaneously killing 348,000 children in the womb, and then go from there to saying, now I'm going to spend $18 million to support candidates that, of course, are going to vote for more money to be given to them. Doesn't anybody see a conflict of interest in this somewhere, somehow, at all? Or am I the only one? 888-589-8840. Let's talk to Holland calling from Arkansas. Hi, Holland. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Kevin. Yes.
Thank you.
Consider this. We have Planned Parenthood. That's just an agency that receives a kickback from the government to do the government's bidding. But look at the flip side, the 503 and the 504 restrictions that the IRS has put in motion. So when you consider the executive orders that have been given by this president, how the Senate has confirmed very unusual judges, you get these agencies like Planned Parenthood that are receiving large amounts of money to do the president's bidding, and then you see the restrictions placed on anyone that has a negative view of the way this government is going, and you begin to see the rules and regulations that are set up to keep this person or this government ideology in place even after the election. And that's what I fear more than anything else, is that this
excellent observation. No, excellent observation, Holland, and I thank you for expressing it in such a clear way. You're definitely a binge thinker. The point is true, and Holland really drove it home. Elections matter. The reason that you want to get as righteous a person elected to the presidency of the United States is because his stewardship of the nation affects the judiciary. It affects the future spending priorities of what the nation does, because we're drawing budgets up before the money's actually allocated, right? So how we go forward, that all is dependent upon how much we, the people, are involved in the electoral process. Winning elections matters. We need to win. If we want to consider ourselves folks that are concerned about the moral climate of the nation. Now, there are those that say, Kevin, because you care about the moral climate at all, you've lost the gospel of Jesus. Jesus wouldn't care about fixing the system. Well, on some level, he didn't have the choice in his day. The Roman Empire was the Roman Empire. They ruled. It was a dictatorial system. In America, we are Caesar. You and I, we're going to be held responsible for the stewardship of our country as it went. It's a different scenario completely. Same principles still apply, but the stewardship of the governance that we authorize, the governance that we step up to, and we say, "Hey, you've got to make a good decision here because it's going to impact people's lives." That's on us. All of these employees that work for us are in Washington, D.C. They think they rule us. They think they're over us. It's exactly the opposite. They sit in subjection to us. We determine their future. We say, you did your job well, you get to work a little longer. You didn't do your job well, we're sending you home. But we, the people, have to play that role. And winning elections matters. 888-589-8840. Let's talk to Martin in Virginia. Hi, Martin. Welcome.
Hey, how you doing today?
Good.
Well, I wanted to touch on two topics. You had your earlier statement with Caroline when she pointed out that you said that Planned Parenthood executed 300-some thousand
right.
babies.
Right.
You said you didn't make that statement, which you did. If you go back and play your tape right before your 1:30 break, you'll hear it. And also, you made a statement saying that anybody who takes a human life is wrong. You know, do you consider that also as for the states that still have the death penalty?
I didn't say that. I didn't make that last statement at all. I'm confident of that. When you execute a child, you're executing an innocent person. You're executing a person that had nothing, no moral failing in this life. Convicting a death penalty inmate who now through DNA has been proven to be the killer of another person That's a different scenario, and I'm not discussing the death penalty today, but it is by no means comparable to the taking of an unborn child. An unborn child is an innocent human being.
I'm just saying you made both of those comparisons.
But just before the 1:30 break, what I did say, actually, I had already talked to Carolyn by 1:30, so let me just reiterate again. We, the taxpayers, gave $542 million to Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood killed 348,000 children. Technically, they're saying, the law says the money has to be set aside and can't be used for abortions. That's what the law supposedly says. We have no way of proving if that's true or not. Goes into their general fund. All we have is their word. Nope, not a dime was spent for abortion. Okay, Caroline's willing to believe them. I'm not. I think that all those funds get commingled, and if they didn't have the $542 million, in the pot of gold sitting at Cecile Richards' feet, I don't know that they would be able to operate to the degree that they are. But they're killing a lot of kids. More than 1 million children killed in the last 3 years, and at that same time, over that same span of time, we gave them $1.5 billion. Now they're going to say, well, our budget was, $3 billion. So you only gave us 50% of our operating budget, and we didn't use any of it for the killing of kids. Okay, but I bet you would have to operate differently if you didn't have that $1.5 billion there. So, guys, maybe we should just take the $1.5 billion away. Maybe that's what we should do. Maybe that would be the moral thing to do. Maybe that's what we should impress upon our leadership, Mr. Boehner. Stop funding Planned Parenthood. But I didn't say that they took that $542 million and spent that money directly in the killing of the child. All I know is that for every child that they killed in 2012, for every child corollary that was killed, we gave them $1,683 equivalent. So I don't know how much they get and what they do with it inside, and supposedly they're telling us that not a dime is spent for abortion. We have to take their word for it. I guess if we're gullible enough to do that, then we can. But the point is, they have a tremendous amount of money coming from you and me, and they're executing children every day in the tens of thousands. 888-589-8840. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? Let's talk to Ricky in Louisiana. Hi, Ricky.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. Yeah, let me ask this in the audience. Would you believe anything that a mass murderer would say?
That's what I asked earlier in the show. How can we trust what they tell us? They're taking human life left and right.
Right. If you're murdering little babies, premeditated murder in the first degree, cold-blooded murder, would you believe anything somebody like that says? Well, if you do, I got some prime real estate I want to sell you on the moon. Another point is, even though Christians, are forced to give this money under pain of the gun or whatever, what's going to be their excuse come Judgment Day when God said, okay, you didn't actually kill the babies. I'm talking about Christians now, because the heathens, we know they all go to hell anyhow. All right, without Christ, you go to hell. Okay, you didn't actually kill the babies, but even though it was on the point of a gun, the front of losing everything.
Ricky, let me cut the question short because I've got other callers I want to get to. Thank you for your call. There is no answer to your question that's nice. We pay our taxes. We kill the babies. You helped kill them. I helped kill them. That's on us. It's on us every day that we continue to fund them. There is no get out of jail free card on that. The most righteous person you know, as they're paying taxes, that's on us. Now, we're obligated to do that. We're obligated to pay our taxes. That's clear. What's also clear is our stewardship of our nation. We have a responsibility to work against the taking of innocent life. I mean, what's his name? He may be really all torn up about all the serial killers on death row having their life saved. That's fine. If that's what he's called to do, that's That's his business. That's it. At the end of the day, it's both and. We pay our taxes and we fight for the integrity of the protection of life, because that's our responsibility. We, the people, govern our nation. 888-589-8840. Let's talk to Chris in Ohio. Chris, welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough, AFA Today.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi. I just want to understand the issue that you're presenting a little bit better. As far as the Planned Parenthood services that are provided, do you see a value as far as the non-abortive services? I know that I've used them in the past. In Ohio, we're part of the Rust Belt. There's some parts of the state where you're going to be traveling 45 minutes to, get to a clinic or a doctor's office that's going to be able to see you if you don't have excellent insurance. And then, as far as being a car.
Chris, why were you going to a Planned Parenthood clinic?
Oh, just normal screenings, sexual health screenings. I didn't have health insurance at the time, so.
So they do male STD screenings?
Yeah. Males can go to Planned Parenthood and, there's a variety of different services that you can,
Well, that's really, but Chris, if you looked at their overall budget and what they do, the type of help that you got from them, first of all, it is replicated in other ways, by many different means. Remain abstinent. Do the things that Scripture instructs you to do. There's things that can be done. But secondly, is the importance of you getting your screening worth the death of 348,000 children? Can't we find another way to do that without contributing to the deaths of children? Every time you support Planned Parenthood, you're killing a kid. I'm Kevin McCullough. We'll see you on the Monday edition of AFA Today. Thank you for such an informative Friday. All the headlines on the AFAtoday.com Facebook page as soon as we're done here. We'll see you then.